How's it going, guys? I'm Jack and we're back in Dyson Sphere Program. Today we're taking another look at ratios and we're going to be doing even more maths. We're going to be using the faster belts and sorters and see how we can use them together to get all the correct ratios and stuff. Also, I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind and make things a whole lot easier. That's about it, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is actually this recipe quick reference guide, and this is available on the wiki. I'll leave a link to it down below. And when I first saw this, it blew my mind. It literally solves all my problems. So this is just a list of every single recipe in the game and the ratios and the rates that things are made at. So look at this, it's got so much on it. It's actually incredible. So how do we use it? On the left hand side we have a column of our final product. So in the top example, we're making gears. In a Mk.1 assembler we would make 45 per minute. In a Mk.2 assembler we'd make 60 per minute. In a Mk.3 assembler we'd make 90 per minute. And to achieve that we would need to supply, for a Mk.1 assembler, 45 iron bars, and in a Mk.2 assembler 60 iron bars. In a Mk.3 assembler 90 iron bars. So it's just got everything on it that we possibly need, and it's going to make things a lot easier. Now this game is in early access, so if you are watching it in like 10 years time, first of all, comment down below, tell me if I'm famous yet. But things might change, but I'm sure this will be updated accordingly. So yeah, I'll leave a link to this in the description, but I have it printed out on my desk and we're going to be using this in the video. Okay, so what are we actually doing? Well, I'm playing it in my Let's Build series save file, so if you want to go and check that out, it's on my channel. Also subscribe if you do enjoy factory building management games like this. But I always run out of foundations, so I wanted to automate the production of foundations, and to be honest, the ratios are pretty interesting, so I thought it would make a good follow-up video to my previous ratios video. I would go recommend checking that out, by the way. I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you to click on, so go check that out first. But for now I want to aim for 3 Mk.1 assemblers making foundations, so I'm going to whack those down there. We can work out how many we're going to be making using the recipe and the rate of production and stuff like that. However, the quick recipe guide, like I said, is just time saver, so we're just going to use that. And if we take a look at the quick recipe guide, we can see that we are going to be making 45 foundations per minute in a Mk.1 assembler, and that requires 135 stone bricks and 45 steel. So for 3 assemblers we just need to multiply those numbers by 3, so we'll be making 135 foundations per minute, and we will require 405 stone bricks and 135 steel per minute. So first we're going to make the stone bricks. We can see from the quick recipe guide that we can make 60 per second in one smelter, and that's going to take 60 stone ore to do. How many smelters do we need? Well, we wanted to do 405 stone bricks per minute. So if we do 405 divided by 60, that gives us 6.75. So we need 6.75 smelters to produce 405 stone bricks. Well, we can't have 0.75 of a smelter, so we'll just round that up. So we're going to need 7 smelters, and that does mean we'll be slightly overproducing, but that's not too bad. We can use the extra stone bricks for something else, or we could even just store them. The next thing is we need to actually mine enough stone ore to fulfill the requirements of all the smelters, and well, we're going to need 405 stone ore per second. I've got this little mining setup over here already. Check out my first video if you want to go a bit more in depth into mining, but this produces like over 500 stone ore per minute. As you can see though, I've got Mk.1 conveyor belts connected up to this sorter, so these two here will produce 360 per minute, and this one just produces the extra amount that we need. So from the conveyor belts, the Mk.1 moves items at a rate of 6 per second, which is 360 per minute. Well, 360 per minute is not enough to fulfill 405 per minute, so we're going to have to use a Mk.2 belt. As you can see, this is double the speed, so it transports 12 items per second, 720 per minute. There is a Mk.3 belt which is much faster and actually transports 1,800 items per minute, but that's a bit overkill for what we're doing now. So the Mk.2 conveyor belt is going to be absolutely fine for what we need. So let's actually lay this down. I'm going to lay it down like this. So this is going to have a capacity of 720 down here, but we're not going to be using the whole thing. As long as the miners are producing over 405, that's going to be more than enough over here. So let's get our smelters down. We're going to lay them out in a pretty funny way, just so we can see the sorters working at different distances. So let's get well, where are we? Stone bricks. Totally forgot what I was making then. So we need to supply each of these smelters with 1 stone ore per second. If we take a look at the sorters, the different sorters will have different speeds over different distances. So as long as we can get a trip speed, as you can see here, it's got a trip speed of 1.5 trips per second. If we can get that at 1 or over, that is going to be enough to supply our smelters. So you can think about the trip speed as that supplies 1.5 items every second. So that's going to be fine for that. That's going to be fine for that. Now, if we take a look at over this way, this is longer distance, so it's going to take longer to get to the smelter. So it's only going to give us 0.75 items per second. So if we put 2 of those on there, that's going to add together and give us 1.5 items per second. Over here, let's use a Mk.2 sorter. Again, 1.5 trips per second. That's totally fine. And again, a Mk.3 sorter give us 3 trips per second. That's absolutely fantastic. So 3 items per second into there. We'll go back to Mk.1 sorters just for now. Again, this will give us it's a longer distance, so it's going to give us a longer time. So it's going to be 0.5 trips per second or 0.5 items per second. So we can use, again, 2 of them, add them up. That's going to give us 1 per second. And hey, let's just use a Mk.3 on the last one. 2 trips per second. That's more than enough than what we need. Now, because some of these are over the 1 per second required, this means the initial resource is going to fill up and stack in here. However, because the smelter is only going to be working at a certain rate, which is slower than the sorter can bring it in, the sorters will actually slow down to that rate and everything will be going in at a rate of 1 per second. This actually works on the other side as well. And again, we're going to use a Mk.2 sorter, Mk.2 belt, sorry, so we have enough capacity to output everything. And well, we're just going to do the same. So the sorters do work in reverse, the same principle. Just going to whack down, I don't know, just a random bunch of sorters, and well, we'll make it work. We'll make it work, right? Again, well, I don't think I said this before, but you literally wouldn't lay it out like this. It's just useful to see how each of these different sorters can work over different distances, because sometimes you do have 3 belts next to each other like this, and you do need to grab items from a really far away belt. So you can just see how the different distances affect the different speeds and how you can like mitigate the distance by using more than one sorter or a better sorter, basically. So that is the stone bricks being made, and let's hook these this one up to these assemblers over here, and we'll get to the assemblers a little bit later, but let's hook this up the power and see it in action. Whack that down there, and I was waiting for it all to go into action. Nope, because we haven't linked it over here. I was like, what's going on? I've recorded all that and it's gone wrong. So here we go. So we've got 360 coming down this belt and a little bit extra coming down this belt, and then they combine over here. And like I said, it is going to overproduce, so stuff is going to come out at the end, but we are actually producing enough stone bricks to fulfill our 3 assemblers over there. Okay, so that's stone bricks. So let's actually move on to the steel now, and this is a little bit more involved and a little bit more tricky, but guys, we can do this. We can make it work. We can make it work. So like I said, the steel is a little bit more tricky to make because we do have to make iron bars first before we can make the steel. I've gone ahead and set up mining already. It's very similar to the stone mining. We've got the Mark 1 belts going into a Mark 2 belt, and well, this is going to supply enough for our final steel production. What is our final steel production? Basically, we needed 135 steel per minute, that's 45 for each assembler making the foundations, and if we look at the quick recipe guide, we're going to see that we are going to be making 20 steel per minute in one smelter. So to get the amount of smelters, we just need to do 135 divided by 20, which is equal to 6.75. So we're just going to round that up again to 7 smelters. That's cool. So we're going to need 7 smelters making steel. If we take a look at the recipe for this as well though, we are going to need the iron bars like I said, and we're going to need 3 every 3 seconds. Now you may think you need 3 smelters making iron bars to supply 1 smelter making steel, but that is not true. I thought that was a self, but it's just not true. So if you think about it, each steel smelter is going to actually use 60 steel bars per minute, and we can actually see that from the quick recipe guide. So 1 smelter making iron bars actually produces 60 bars per minute. So 1 smelter can actually supply one smelter making steel. So you don't need 3, you only need one smelter. And now the problem here is you need to get the steel, the bars into the steel smelter at a rate of 1 per second or more. If you are below, it's not going to work. I got really confused then, I'm not going to lie. So if we're using a Mark 1 sorter, we can see that's going to give us 0.75 trips per second, so 0.75 items per second, and that's not going to be enough. So we could use 2 of them again, or we could even just use a Mark 2 one. That's going to give us the same. So we could do that again, use different combinations of smelters and stuff, of sorters and distances and stuff, but ideally you want to use the least amount. So what I'm going to do is actually just use some Mark 2 ones to get a 1.5 trip speed on there. So I'm going to place down these last smelters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll get them out the other end as well. 6, 7, absolutely fantastic. And let's link these up. Just like it's a bit uneven, but that's fine, isn't it? It's fine. Again, I'm going to use Mark 2 sorters. I've got actually, I say that I've run out of Mark 2 sorters, so I'm going to use a couple of Mark 1 sorters just because I can't be bothered to make any more, to be totally honest. So let's whack those on there. So that is all going to work out fine. Now, because we're going to be making 135 steel per minute, let's actually put those recipes on there. So yeah, we're not going to be transporting that much on the conveyor belt, so we can actually use a Mark 1 conveyor belt on this side, because this is going to give us the capacity for 360. So we don't always have to use the fastest belts. If you don't have them, or if you find them too expensive to make, then you can always use the Mark 1 belts. Well, you should always see where you can use Mark 1 belts and stuff like that. So let's link that over to our assemblers over here. And well, over here as well, we need to get these out. But like I said before, we're not going to be making a lot of them. So we can actually use a really slow sorter to get them out, and it's still going to be producing the amount we need. I don't know if this is making sense or not, but we could literally use a 0.5 sorter, 0.5 trip sorter, because that's going to bring one out every 2 seconds. Is that right? Yeah. Let's say yeah. So because this is actually producing every 3 seconds, because the sorter is going to go there and back no, it's 1 second, isn't it? So I'm getting confused myself. Because the sorter is going to go there and back in 1 second, then it's literally it's faster than the 3 seconds that the machine is working at. So we'll actually be bringing them out like as soon as they are made. So let's just link those up. Again, guys, if you've got any questions in the any questions for me, just leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you. I literally reply to every single comment. So let's link these up to power and get this up and running. Right, let's put that there. So we've got the iron ore coming down, all going into machines, and that's going to be making the steel. And yeah, we are going to be overproducing again because we've got more smelters than we actually need, but this is going to be very close to the ratios that are required, and also it's going to be more than enough to supply these 3 assemblers over here. So we've got the stone and we've got the steel coming over to our assemblers at the correct rates, and we just need to get them into machines so these have got enough supply to actually be working at 100%. Looking back at the quick recipe guide, we can see that each machine needed 135 stone and 45 steel per minute. So let's divide those numbers by 60, and that's how many we can get per second, and this is going to tell us what sorters we can use. So 135 divided by 60, that's 2.25 stone bricks per minute. So we can use, well, we've only got Mk.3 sorters left, so that's fine. So this is going to give us a 3 items per second, 3 trips per second. So that's over 2.25, so that's going to be more than enough. And if we divide 45 by 60, that gives us 0.75 steel per second. So we've got that on the inner belt, so we're going to have 6 per second going into there, which is absolutely fantastic. But if you did have the steel on the outer belt and you used a Mk.1 sorter, well, that would be a speed of 0.75, and that'd be absolutely perfect, absolutely spot on. So let's get these guys out over here and let's get this working. And I must say as well, I totally didn't plan out how many sorters I needed, but I've literally haven't got any left. I've literally used the last one there. Absolutely fantastic. So there we go, we've got foundations being made. Last sorter over here just needs a bit of power, and we're just going to be storing those in there. So that is a more in-depth guide, I guess, into ratios, and the quick recipe guide is a really big help. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, remember to press the like button. The YouTube algorithm really appreciates it. If you do enjoy factory building and management games, be sure to subscribe. Any questions, suggestions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and I live stream on Twitch. Link to my channel is in the description. But as always, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you on the next one.